Okay, so many of y'all have been asking what does it mean to be a gray witch or what is gray magic? And it's fairly simple, to be honest. Traditionally, people look at magic on a spectrum. It's either light or dark. I personally fall in the middle, in the gray section. I don't believe. How do I explain this? I am not a Wiccan. I do not believe in the harm ye none or the Wiccan read threefold law. I do not believe in the Wiccan version of karma. I believe in the traditional version of karma. Um, so I learned years ago that all magic on the spectrum is valid and important and has its place. Right? So, believe it or not, I started out on my witchcraft journey a long time ago as a love and light Wiccan. I know, if you know me now, if you met me anytime in, like, I don't know, the last 5 or 10 years, you probably have to laugh pretty hard at that and may even find it very hard to believe. So, yeah, like, you might find that kind of hard to believe. But I did. I started out, I came over into witchcraft from Christianity, and it was the 90s, right? And I'm not gonna like go into depth detail about like how I got started. I can make another video about that if y'all are actually interested in hearing it. But I do have to give a little bit of a backstory for you to understand my gray magic path. Um, I came into witchcraft from Christianity, and back in the 90s, right? So we didn't really have all of the resources, or should I say, easy access. So yeah, like, I know that might be kind of hard for some of you to believe. I know some of you that have known me for like 20 years are probably chuckling right now going, I remember that. Um, but yes, I don't want to go into detail too much because, like, this is just a story about like what is gray magic. That's what this video is supposed to be about. So if you want like an origin story or some shit about me, I can go into a lot more detail about that in a different video. But for right now, I'm just trying to give you a little bit of context on what gray magic means to me, right? So I got into this a long time ago. Um, I came into witchcraft from Christianity, and it was the 90s. So I didn't have access to a lot of the magical resources that we have access to now, right? The internet was brand new, it was barely a thing when I first started. Um, and it was literally like, okay, the Bible isn't really doing it for me. What can I find out about at the library that isn't the Bible? And so I spent a lot of time at the library reading about all of the different religions and like just trying to find something that what they were talking about was already what I believed. And the things that I believed in that contradicted what I was being taught in Christianity. I was trying to find the book that said, hey, I think and feel the same way you do, and here's what my religion is called, kind of a thing, right? And I know witchcraft isn't a religion, but back then, that's what I was looking for. I was trying to find my religion, my spirituality, where I fit in, because a lot of the shit that I knew and believed and experienced didn't line up with what I was being taught was right. under the Christian umbrella. So when you go to the library in the 90s and you start looking in like the cultural sections and the religion sections and the spirituality sections, you weren't going to find a whole lot of options. You were either going to find Christians on the you were either going to find books on the Abrahamic religions like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, or you were going to find books on Eastern religions like Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, that kind of stuff. Which a lot of the things in those books really resonated with me, but it wasn't my culture. So it wasn't a fit. It still wasn't right, if that makes sense. So then, like, you turn around and you look at the other shelf option in the fucking 90s bookstore, and you have a book on witchcraft. And it was basically cut into black magic and Wicca. Like, those were the two categories you had. You had things like the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, the Witchcraft Bible, and then you would have all of these books that were like, oh, the Wicca Encyclopedia, the Encyclopedia to Herbs. You would have some books on crystals, and like, those were really your only options back then. And coming from a super Christian upbringing and still being very young and somewhat impressionable, I still felt like black magic was evil. It was satanic. It was the devil. I had not yet distanced myself from that thought process. I had not yet unpacked those teachings. I was just going off what I knew in the time. So I chose Wicca. And I learned all about white magic and the whole love and light thing. And I did that for probably a good 10, 12 years before I started questioning it. And again, feeling like a lot of the stuff that y'all are teaching with me doesn't seem 100% correct. It doesn't seem whole. It doesn't seem accurate. Wicca, for me, was still way too structured and organized into things are set in stone. It has to be done this way or it's wrong. It has to be done this way or it will backfire. Like, that kind of stuff didn't make sense to me. So I kind of started questioning it. And when I would ask these questions in some of the love and light communities, I was met with the same resistance and the same stigmas and the same judgment that I got in the Christian communities. And so they just kept pushing back and preaching, no, that's dark, harm ye none, threefold long, don't mess with free will, baneful magic is evil, baneful magic is the devil. And I just kept going, is it though? Because that's the same thing that Christianity told me about magic and witchcraft in general, and they were wrong. So I started looking into it, and I realized that the other end of the spectrum, the dark magic end of the spectrum, and I have veered away from using white and black magic as terms in my own vocabulary. I occasionally will use them in quotations because those are the terms that people most commonly know and are aware of. But then I will usually try to elaborate on why. And to me, the whole white magic versus black magic does feel racially motivated. It is rooted in colonialism. It is rooted in colonization. And it, again, comes from white people trying to break away